So I desperately needed a brand new bench table. My original one from AliExpress broke apart because, well, it was from AliExpress, and the one I recently tried to 3D print didn't really last too long either. However, it looks like Thermal Grizzly, of all people, seem to have just a solution to my problems. This right here is the Bench table. And if you're wondering exactly what that kind of awkward name is about, it's in relation to the fact that this was made in collaboration with Der Bauer, which if you don't know who that is, then one, it probably doesn't mean too much to you, and two, you're missing out. But if you do know who that is, then that gives you a pretty decent idea of what exactly you can expect. Starting off, we just have our pretty big manual right here. It's been a while since I've actually unboxed anything that has this many pages inside, as well as just a quick little reminder that you have in fact purchased something from Thermal Grizzly. But of course, it's what's underneath this foam that is really interesting to us here. Look at that. Now, obviously, what makes this rather unique compared to many other bench tables is just the fact that, look, it actually has stuff on it. It has a PCB, it has all of these ports, and it has in general a lot of things that are supposed to make testing systems and generally using it that much simpler. If that's the case, well, we'll be finding out today. Question now is, do I just try to figure this all out without instructions, or do I just give up already and just do it how it's supposed to be done? Okay, starting off, we're gonna need the AIB securing bracket, which is this right here, and then some screws, which, I mean, I wish the baggies were labeled, but they are not, so I just have to hope for the best I open the right ones. Please, if you're doing something like this, especially when there's so many different types, as you can see right here, at least label them so it's kind of clear what you need. And I've already spilled them out of the baggie because, yeah, it's not a great system, I'm sorry. So first things first, we're installing this right here, which is going to hold all of your expansion cards, or, you know, more realistically just your graphics card. I kind of wish it went all the way and maybe even made the screws right here black, just so it kind of blends in with this bracket, but oh well. Next to install the actual stands it's gonna stand on, we're gonna need our damper feet right here, and also some more screws, which I have no idea what they are because, again, they're not labeled for some reason. So the whole process took around 8 minutes for me to actually finish putting this whole thing together. Again, one of the things that severely slowed it down is just the way that the screw system works. The fact that the baggies aren't labeled, the fact that the Allen keys aren't labeled, and also because, well, they're all just stored in flimsy baggies, so that you spill out, get mixed up, etc. I also wish it was a bit more obvious that the two legs that are included are not the same. There is a specific left and a specific right, and even then there's also a specific orientation they need to go on both sides. I wish that was made a bit clearer, but apart from that, like, it was not as bad given how many parts there were at the start. My main takeaways from the process are, well, twofold. I wish that there were, like, I don't know, separate compartments in this box, but also ideally something on the bench table itself where you can keep all of the screws somewhere so they're all in one place and they are always kind of conveniently there. It would be awesome if there was some kind of storage somewhere, anywhere on it. The second thing is this right here, which is the system for mounting fans, radiators. You have to basically completely unscrew it, right? You can see right here that there are 3 rows of screw holes, and you can either have them in one position for 120mm and in another position for 140mm. So I wish there was some kind of simpler system where you don't have to unscrew it, but whatever, you can then just plop your motherboard of choice right on top, and as you can see, it sits on there pretty nice. But that now all leads to a pretty obvious question about all of this, is why bother having all of this additional stuff right here underneath your motherboard? Because you have quite a bit. You have SATA ports right here, you have USB ports, you have your headers for your PWM fans. So what's the point of plugging it all into here rather than just directly into your motherboard? When it comes to storage, you can have it all on here, right? You can have your Windows install, your benchmarks, any kind of games, and then you just don't have to worry about constantly having to unplug it and replug to a new motherboard. If you're swapping it out constantly, it's all present right here. I wish that they kind of explained it more on their own website, maybe even gave a few more ideas, and generally try to justify what's the point of having this kind of setup compared to your regular kind of, well, dumb bench table that doesn't have any of this circuitry in it. That all leads to a secondary question then. How do you connect all of this up to your motherboard then? What we can do is take a look at this baggie right here that came included that will probably give us some of our answers. So as you can see, you have your pretty much every single cable you could possibly need here. You just have your PWM right here, you have your RGB, you have your internal USB to internal USB, so you can connect it up. And I'm still noticing new stuff, like for example, you also have power and reset that you can route from your motherboard to here and then have it controlled. That is actually pretty cool. But I also kind of wonder how easy it is to reach when the motherboard itself is actually on there. So if I just put it on, I mean, yeah, you can still kind of see it. I guess there's still enough of a gap that you can very, very easily get to everything. Even if deeper inside the board itself, obviously, you can't really get to these slots right here, for example, while there is a board mounted on top. But everything on the outside, you can see exactly what it is. You can see the labels, but also you can very easily reach them and mess around with them wherever you need. Then to actually power all of this, as you can see right here, you are gonna need to run a 16 PCIe from your power supply right into here. Not only is it there to actually, provide power to all of the stuff you're plugging into here. So like for example, if we wanted to, we can just take this fan and then run it into one of the PWM headers, just like so. As you can see, this kind of see-through acrylic strip going all the way around. Yep, that all lights up to be the ultimate like combination of sleek but also kind of, just cool looking bench table. But of course, we also have to talk about the price. This thing is going to cost you almost $322. It's a very definition of the kind of product where most people probably won't be able to justify it just to even tinker around with slightly. But if you do need it because you're just that much of a nerd, or because you have a kind of job where it's just going to pay for you to have it anyway, then it's going to save you so much time, so much hassle. And even then, obviously, it's going to really depend a lot on your personal workflow and if you can be bothered with like learning all of the nuances of how to get the most out of this bench table right here, rather than just doing it the old-fashioned way of plugging everything into your motherboard. It's something you have to figure out by yourself. And I just wish that they did a couple of more things to really make it premium, especially for their price. So if they ever make a sequel, then just hit me up, Thermal Grizzly and Roman and whoever else. I got plenty of ideas. But for now, this will become a permanent part of the benchmarking system here at Avrana Media, and everything going forward is going to be using this thing. But I want to hear your thoughts about it down in the comments below and why you added. Maybe check out Patreon, because while you may not be able to justify the price of this thing, you'll certainly be able to justify the price of a Patreon. Plus huge thanks to Gavin Burns, Justin Rage, and Avronyak Badashvok, another pseudonym, Next Domination, Allcraft, and Mason Magruder. But anyway, that's about it, so I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, then remember to subscribe, like whatever, and I'll see you all in whatever I make next. Goodbye everyone, goodbye.